Hey friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Bianca, and today I would like to continue with part 2 of the 8 life advice I would share with my 20-year-old self if someone were to invent a time machine at some point during my lifetime. And since Milo is getting a little overwhelmed from her fame, I thought of sharing my thoughts whilst bringing you along on my short trip to a Malaysian state called Penang. Penang Island in particular is rich with history and it's often a very popular destination for Malaysians if we want amazing food. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. So the fifth advice I have for my younger self would be to capitalize on the power of the internet. Why? Well, David Perel, a fellow YouTuber who I follow, did a great job at articulating the key reasons for that. So he said, until recently, the average person wasn't able to publish and distribute their ideas at a reasonable cost. But on the internet, anybody in any corner of the world, in any time zone, can access your best thinking. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. When you publish ideas, you create your own serendipity vehicle, a magnet for ideas and people and opportunities from potentially every corner of the globe. If your ideas resonate with people, people will discover you and bring you unexpected opportunities. They will open doors you never knew existed. And so, the first step to creating a serendipity vehicle is to create your own online home. So, in other words, the internet can serve as your serendipity vehicle once you have developed the courage to share your ideas online. And social media is just one of the great ways for you to attract people because it is social media after all. Ultimately, I believe that the internet is capable of doing more good than bad despite its flaws and dangers. Or at the very least, I would really love to believe in that. So to me, finding out a way to leverage its power in a positive and healthy manner is definitely something worth exploring. Next on my list, challenge yourself to earn $10,000 at university. Okay, fine. It could be $1,000 or even $100,000, depending on how, ambitious you want to be. And there are two main reasons I said that. The first is for you to realize that there are just a myriad of opportunities out there for you to make money. So you shouldn't feel like you have to get a certain job or be a certain person just to earn a living. This brings me to my second point. Ultimately, I hope that this exercise helps you to develop a healthy relationship with money early on in your life, as opposed to adopting this rather cynical belief that money is evil. And I would say another important advice that helped me a lot over the past 3 years when I was trying to make some pocket money was to recognize that money is simply a medium used to exchange value. Therefore, if you want to make money, you got to be observant of the different problems existing around you. Train yourself to see these problems as opportunities to provide value, and then develop a solution that people are happy to pay for in order to remove their pain points. Basically, as long as you remain focused on providing value to people, money will eventually gravitate to you. Moving on with my seventh advice, I would actually tell my 20-year-old self to practice effective networking. Even when you feel all the discomfort, social anxiety, and awkwardness just boiling up inside you, because I know that definitely happened to me. Well, knowing myself back then, the word networking was just enough to give me this allergic reaction because I associated it with brown-nosing and transactional relationships. But over time, I came to acknowledge that the world is run by human beings, and thanks to outstanding technological advances, people are becoming increasingly connected. So there's really no denial that the future of everything is going to be socially driven. On top of that, networking doesn't necessarily mean you got to pretend to be someone you're not. In fact, it took me these 3 years to internalize that effective networking is actually all about being authentic. What truly helped me to actually enjoy the process was to initiate new conversations with people who share the same interests as you, whether it is regarding, say, your career aspirations, hobbies, or even personal values. For instance, I unexpectedly made new friends who were actually kind enough to share job vacancies at my Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu classes, which I honestly thought would be the last place for anyone to come across such opportunities. But hey, what brought us together in the first place was simply the fact that we're into martial arts. Now, for the final advice to complete the whole self-lecturing, I would strongly emphasize the importance of diversifying your information diet. So you're probably familiar with the term balanced diet, in which the rule of thumb is that you should consume adequate portions of all types of nutrients, ranging from carbohydrates to vitamins to fat, in order to maintain this healthy body and state of mind. So the information diet follows the same principle, and I'll use my personal experience as an example. So for the majority of my time at university, I've been constantly burying my nose into books and scientific journals relating to biochemistry. Well, fair enough, because I wanted to do well in my degree. The problem is, even though I became increasingly well-read about the ongoings in the world of life sciences, I found out that I actually knew very little about other equally important topics such as personal finance, current global affairs, or even how to establish and maintain positive relationships. And this is just to name a few. What's more, given that there has been a series of, well, unfortunate events surrounding racial discrimination and many more in our world today, I just came to realize that my information diet is simply dreadful, and it is my own job to educate myself on all of these issues. Thus, I pushed myself a lot to pick up leisure reading again over the past 3 years. However, this time, I actually decided to place a greater emphasis on creating a more diverse range of topics instead of sticking to a certain group of favorites. Besides that, I'm also trying my best to interact with people from different backgrounds. Well, different backgrounds in terms of nationalities, cultures, education, age group, work history, and so on. Main reason for that? Well, I'm kind of embarrassed to admit how long it took me to realize this, but we all unconsciously self-select our friends based on our own interests and values. But in reality, I suppose we will all eventually encounter people who may have very different opinions or mindsets from you. And even though this could sometimes cause some sort of personal discomfort, their points might actually be pretty valid. As a result, I do hold a rather strong opinion that sometimes deliberately pushing yourself to interact with diverse groups of people should be something that is practiced consistently as just a healthy reminder of how little we know about the world. With that, this concludes the 8 different, well, as I said, life advice that I would share with my 20-year-old self if I ever got to travel back in time. If you're someone who happens to be a few steps behind me in terms of age, just feel free to experiment with my advice and let me know down in the comment section below if you found any of them to actually be helpful. Regardless, I hope that these tips can be considered to be timeless and applicable to just absolutely anybody. In the meantime, if you're into videos where people share their life goals and all of that, I have actually made another video where I shared 22 things that I hope to learn from this year, well, 2022 onwards. Till then, I wish you a great day ahead. Be kind to yourself and others, and I shall see you in my next video. Bye-bye!